The price of grain is so volatile, Julia, there will be murder in the streets before the next moon.
It's this endless misery in Africa. That usurping king, that Jugurtha, not only forced our legions under the yoke, but he has poisoned the grain trade.
Exactly so. 3 sestertii for a modius of wheat. Men kill for less.
The sun is setting, Gaius, and the air is finally cool. Must we discuss the price of grain in the city?
Forgive me, Julia. The last thing I want is to bring the heat of the Senate chamber to you, not when you are already carrying such a heavy burden for the future of our house. But a senator must always concern himself with such things. But tell me, how was it at your father's yesterday?
Tartar has not been his usual self lately. He is consumed by worry for my sister Julina. She is refusing to eat, says the very sight of meat upsets her stomach. She is becoming mere shadow and bone.
Has Caesar called a physician?
He has summoned every Greek in the city, but they all offer the same hollow advice. The girl just needs to eat, as if she had forgotten how. I suspect she is lovesick, Bias. She won't admit it, but I know my sister. She plays at tragedy for an audience, though my father is too blinded by his love for her to see the theatre of it.
I've led men into battle, but the mind of a young girl is a mystery to me.
Am I not a young girl to you, my dear husband?
Careful now.
But our neighbour, Clytumna, has been the only one to find a way past Julina's humours. She waits on her night and day. She brought a Syrian draught into the house and promised it would restore the girl's vitality. Julina drinks it greedily. My parents think the woman is some kind of witch.
Clytumna? What a strange name.
I suspect she's a freedwoman, though she has always been most gracious when our litters pass in the streets.
Ah, yes, I remember. She's the one who keeps that young Cornelius as her pet, isn't she?
The same. Lucius Sulla. He has a fine face, but the reputation of a gutter cat.
For the sake of his ancestors, I hope he finds his way. Do you think we should send Martha to your father's house? Perhaps she could offer your sister some clarity.
Doubtful. My father honours the gods in the temples, but he thinks they've grown bored of men. He was surprised when I told him how much weight you give to shadows and signs.
Every man becomes a believer when the shields start clashing. Your father would be a different man if he never left the legions. Did you tell him about the games? That she sat at your feet and cooled every bout?
I did. He insists she simply has a sharp eye for a fighter's footing.
A sharp eye might win you 2 or 3, but she called 20 in a row. Not just the victor, but the wound. That is no guess, Julia. Though what it really is, I cannot say.
I don't disagree. Have you spoken to her lately?
Yesterday, I told her of the eagles. The nest that fell into my lap when I was a boy, the 7 eaglets.
And?
She said what every seer from Arpinum to Rome has told me. 7 birds, 7 consulships.
Sir.
What is it, Sura?
My apologies, Master. The Senator Quintus Metellus is at the gate. He asks for a word, in private.
Thank you, Sura. Show him to the tablinum. I shall join him shortly. Metellus wouldn't come here without reason. This is likely about Africa. I'll be back soon.
Marius enters his study. Metellus stands by the window, silhouetted by the afternoon sun. He is perfectly groomed, his toga draped with effortless authority.
Quintus, you're a long way from the Palatine.
The Palatine is currently a den of screaming merchants and mourning widows, Gaius. I find the air here quieter.
My home is yours. Sura said you asked for a private word.
I've just returned from the Senate. They have given me command of the war in Africa. Marcus Junius Silanus will stay in Rome to guard against the north.
I expected as much. Has the Senate decided what they will do with the brothers Albinus, Spurius, and Aulus?
This entire affair is turning into a bloodbath. Gaius Mamilius Limitanus is using his commission as a witch hunt. They're investigating people with ties to Jugurtha. They intend to exile anyone, even senators, suspected of collaboration.
That would include us, Quintus. We both served with him in Numantia.
I am aware. We were at Numantia on the Senate's business, Gaius. Jugurtha was our ally then, a prince of a client kingdom leading his own cavalry. That is not what the Commission is hunting for. They are looking for the men who took his gold last year. You were wise to avoid him when he came to Rome, or you'd be sitting in a prisoner's dock right now.
I am not short on funds. I had no reason to meet with him.
Very pragmatic, Gaius. That's not the worst of it, though.
The yoke.
The yoke. 40,000 Romans forced to crawl on their bellies like dogs beneath a wooden beam. Rome does not endure humiliation, Gaius. It answers it.
The last time the legions had to pass under the yoke was in Spain, with Mancinus and his 20,000. I suppose this makes you the new Scipio, avenger of Roman honor.
Scipio was a great man. We will never see his like again. I haven't thought of that in ages. Now that you mention it, the similarities are unsettling.
Do you remember that October night outside the walls of Numantia? The rain was coming down so hard we couldn't tell the mud from the river.
I remember the cold. Scipio had forbidden us from using any tents that weren't regulation. I woke up with my cloak frozen to the ground.
You were a tribune then, trying to look like a statue of Romulus. And Scipio, the gods, he was a demon that month. He ordered the entire command staff to help reinforce the western palisade, personally.
He wanted to shame the slackers. He knew that if the men saw a Metellus carrying a wicker gabion, they wouldn't dare complain about their own aching backs.
I remember watching you struggle with that mud-soaked basket. You were swearing in Greek, Quintus. I don't think I've ever heard such foul language come out of a man with such a noble nose. I had to grab the other end of the basket just to keep you from falling into the trench.
I believe I told you to get your peasant hands off my burden.
You did. And then you slipped, and we both went face first into the Iberian clay. To be young and reckless again. We thought that trench was the hardest thing we'd ever have to build.
And now we have to rebuild the honor of an entire legion, Gaius. And there isn't enough clay in Africa to cover the shame Albinus left behind.
We.
Yes, we. I'm here to ask you to join my war against Jugurtha. As my legate.
Legate?
That's right, Gaius. I'm going to Africa to win. We need to avenge the honor of Rome. I've already secured 6 legions. 4 are already in the field, and I'm raising 2 fresh ones here in Italy. We march into the deep desert. No more talks. We strip the land bare if we must.
It's a grand plan, Quintus. The right one. But you have a staff full of young nobles. Why come to me? We haven't exactly been allies since I sat in the tribune's chair.
I need experience, Gaius, not potential. So you'll come then?
Not before we speak plainly of what lies between us. Ever since I was tribune, the Metelli have opposed me at every step. I've always assumed this had to do with that incident in Numantia, or perhaps the day I threatened your brother with prison.
My brother was the consul of Rome, Gaius. You used your office as a bludgeon. As for the prank in the mud, it was a juvenile thing from 20 years ago. Do you think so little of me that my motivations can be boiled down to a personal grievance?
Then what is it?
Gaius, you are a novus homo, a new man with ambitions that outpace your lineage. We see how you angle for the consulship. We simply wish to know that you intend to use that power wisely, that you are not another reformer like the Gracchi.
The Gracchi paid for that cause with their lives, Quintus. And as for our Italian allies, they will not tolerate being second-class citizens forever while they bleed for our legions.
That is a debate for the Curia, another day. For now, we must focus on what is best for Rome, and that is victory over Jugurtha. Rome didn't become mistress of the world by letting its honor be trampled by a desert-dwelling usurper.
I agree. There will be time enough for rivalry. For now, Rome needs unity. Who else have you asked to be on your leadership staff?
We've both seen enough summers to know that the soft faces of nobility don't win war. Iron does. I already have Gaius Curio, as well as Aulus Manlius, and I've sent word to Publius Rutilius Rufus off in Athens that I would also like him on my staff. They are fine, reliable leaders, Gaius, but the soldiers need a leader who speaks their language and eats their gruel.
I am tempted, Quintus. I thank you for the offer. When do you sail for Utica?
When the spring gales subside. A month, no more. The legions in Africa have rotted, Marius. They've spent a year trading their peeler for wine and their honor for safety. I need to get them back into the dirt before they forget their Romans. One last proviso, Gaius. If you decide to join me, leave that Syrian sorceress behind. My men need steel and drill, not the whispers of a street seer.
I need a week to consider this, Quintus. Julia is due any day now.
I understand. 1 week. No more.
After Metellus left the Marius household, Gaius Marius went back to the peristyle to inform his wife of the offer of Legate. He informed Julia that he asked Metellus to give a week for consideration, and that his mind was not yet made up. She saw through this, knowing her husband's ambition, but played along. Gaius Marius then returned to his tablinum to send a letter to his friend, Publius Rutilius Rufus, who was currently in Athens, visiting his terminally ill mentor, updating him on the situation.
Gaius Marius, to Publius Rutilius Rufus. Greetings. I trust you are in good health. How fares Pernatius? I had word that age was beginning to press upon him. Tell me he still has the strength to dispute with you. The city is in a state of agitation. The commission of Mamelius ranges widely, seeking out all who may have been touched by Jugurtha's gold. The brothers Albinus are as good as ruined. Exile is expected once the trials conclude. As for the tribunes, Lucullus and Annius cling to their seats, blocking the ballot boxes until they get their way. They are no Gracchi, yet they are more than willing to stir the same tempests. All Rome speaks of the army. That our soldiers were driven beneath the yoke like cattle has struck deep. There is anger in every quarter, and when the season opens, it will not lack for an outlet. Metellus came to me today. He has been assigned the command in Africa, and bears himself with a new gravity, as though he means to follow in the path of Scipio. He has asked me to serve as his legate. I confess I did not expect it. It seems our little piglet of Numantia has at last learned that victory requires more than lineage. He tells me he has also written to you, no doubt with an eye to order and discipline in the accounts. I am inclined to accept, but more so if you are to be there. I would sooner entrust the army's grain, pay, and baggage to you than to some young noble who has never seen hardship beyond the city walls. Consider it carefully. Are you prepared to exchange Athens for Africa? On a more private matter, Julia's time is near. Martha insists the child will be a son. If the fates are kind, my name will not end with me. Write to me when you are able, and tell me your mind. Farewell.
After finishing the letter, Marius called for Sura. He bade him to send it to Athens for Rufus, and then returned to his wife in the garden. Julia went into labor at the calends of March. The midwives informed Marius that the birth would be difficult, and so he sent for her father, Gaius Julius Caesar. The Syrian seer, Martha, was already waiting within the atrium.
The signs are clear, my lord. Julia will bear a boy before the next moon, and he will be a son of Mars.
If you speak true, I will vow a temple to Honos and Virtus.
It is true, my lord.
I never asked you before, but have you borne any children, Martha?
No, my lord. I serve the gods alone.
The midwives tell me the labor will be hard. Will Julia survive?
She will survive, and she will thrive.
Pardon the interruption, my lord.
There's nothing to interrupt, Sura. Speak.
The Julii have arrived, sir. The elder Caesar is in the vestibule.
See them in. Have Artemidorus bring out the refreshments.
Right away, sir.
Martha, go to the birthing room. Lend your spirit to the midwives.
As you command.
Caesar, you have come.
For the firstborn of my house, Gaius, the distance is nothing.
Marcia, your presence honors this roof. My gratitude for your journey.
I am here for my daughter. However, we do acknowledge your hospitality, Gaius Marius. You have guarded Julia's dignitas well since she entered your house.
She is the light of this home. I have known no greater fortune. Marcia, the midwives await your hand. You are welcome in the birthing chamber.
Then I shall go. May the goddess Lucina be favourable.
This is your firstborn, Gaius. A heavy weight for a man of your distinction.
I find the gods are kind, Caesar. Fortune stands with me today.
So how is Rufus? I heard he's returned from Athens.
Very well. I was with him yesterday. He has also agreed to serve as legate in Africa.
Good, good. Rome needs men like him, and like you, to bring that war to a swift conclusion.
I was relieved to hear the news myself.
When do you all set sail?
The winds are especially rough this season. We've already been delayed once. Metellus is determined to sail within the next week. Damn the winds.
Summer's a ways off. Why the urgency?
The African legions have grown soft. They have turned to trade instead of training. Metellus intends to whip them into shape before taking them over the border into Numidia.
The desert is a cruel theatre, Gaius. Has he outlined his strategy? Has he assigned the roles for you and the rest of his staff?
He has. For my part, he wants me where the line is most exposed. He has given me command of the vanguard as well as the cavalry. He wishes for me to be out front, maneuvering in the open.
The cavalry? That is unorthodox for a man of your standing, Gaius.
It is. A senator belongs in the center of the square, protected by a wall of shields, or so the textbooks say. But Metellus understands this is not a standard war. The Numidians do not line up for battle. They hit and they vanish like a heat mirage. We will do the same. He is sending me behind their lines to sow discord, to turn their own desert into a cage.
I see the logic of it. And what of the others?
Rufus will serve as the master of the camp and the rear guard. Metellus knows there is no mind in the Republic more suited for the supply lines. But it is his steel that we will rely on. He will oversee the grain, the water, and the baggage, ensuring the legions are fed even in the heart of the waste. But more than that, he will be in charge of the training and the lash. Once we land, he will be the one stripping the rot from the men, replacing their wine with work and their soft habits with drill.
A wise choice. An army in the sun is only as strong as its well. What of the other two, Manlius and Curio?
Manlius is to be our diplomat. He has the temperament for negotiation and a family name that carries weight even in the desert. Metellus will send him to speak with the chieftains and the kings, hoping his silver tongue can convince them to betray Jugurtha before we even have to draw our swords. To that end, he'll also command the auxiliaries, the Gauls and the Ligurians. He knows how to speak the language of those who aren't born to the toga.
And Curio?
Curio is our anchor. He will command the core of the infantry. While the rest of us are off chasing shadows, Curio will be the one holding the line of the heavy legions. He is as traditional a Roman as you will find. He doesn't care for Numidian tricks. He just wants to see a wall of Roman shields moving forward in the sun.
Well, it seems that the people elected the right consul, for once.
When I served with him Numantia all those years ago, I saw that he was not above getting his hands in the dirt, but he never struck me as a strategist. Maybe his year chasing down bandits in Sicily changed him.
Perhaps it did.
In any case, Julia has told me that her sister has been having a difficult time lately. Is she getting better?
Girls of that age are difficult to govern. I tell you, Gaius, better a son. Sons are simpler, and it will spare you a lot of grief. I don't know what's wrong with the girl, truth be told. The doctors all say she is well. She simply refuses to eat more than the bare minimum to sustain herself.
Well, I'm no judge of such matters. If it were me, I would have her slave girls separated and walloped with a cane until she revealed what's really going on. But you and I are of different temperaments, Caesar. I'm sure whatever ails her will pass.
You are right again, Gaius. We are of different temperaments. But thank you nonetheless. I'm sure it will. It sounds like the baby is here. The commotion has increased.
Yes, it does sound like it. I will wait for the midwife to come. I've been told the birthing bed is a more gruesome sight than the battlefield.
That's not a sight I relish.
I've never asked you, why have you never sought high command?
I was at the Isere, Gaius. I stood in the mud under Fabius and Ahenobarbus. A bloodbath doesn't describe it. It was a slaughterhouse. After that, I realized my service to Rome was better spent in the courts than the camps. I met Marcia, and I chose the hearth.
The Battle of the Isere River. Is it true Fabius Maximus was so infirm he led the legions from a litter?
I know it is true. I was one of the men carrying the poles. But his name alone put more terror into our line than the barbarians ever could. Even half immobilized, a Fabii demands your spine be straight.
Well, with a name like Fabius, I understand.
My lord.
Yes, Martha, speak.
I congratulate you, my lord. It is done. Julia wishes to see you.
Congratulations, Gaius. This is a great honor that you shall remember the rest of your days.
I have already made offering to my genius and to the Lares. They will accept my sacrifice.
Marius walked into the birthing room. He noticed Julia and saw the relieved look on her face. He took her hands and kissed them.
Are you well?
Yes, husband, I am well. Have you greeted your new son?
A son?
Yes, Gaius. Look at him. He has your brow, though I hope he has a kinder temper. Say hello to your namesake.
Marcia watches like a hawk, her hand tight on a protective charm at her neck. She looks exhausted, the fine wool of her pallor stained with salt and sweat, but her eyes are bright with a hard, defensive pride. Martha kneels, placing the bundle upon the floor between them, waiting. Marius looks down at the child. The atrium fell into a heavy silence.
The gods have spoken plainly, my lord. A son worthy of your name. Take him.
I had feared the worst.
You feared for a legacy, Gaius. I feared for a life. But look at her. She is a daughter of the Julii. She has the blood of kings in her veins. Lift the boy and claim him as your own.
Marius looks at Julia, pale but breathing, then back to the boy. With a sudden firm motion, he lifts the infant toward the ceiling, a silent vow before the household gods. Rome would learn his name.